Why should the people of North Carolina trust Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump when it comes to the economy?
Well, it's great to be with you, Joe. We had a great visit from Vice President Harris today in the great state of North Carolina. This was her 16th visit to North Carolina as vice president. And that's the number one issue in every election is always the economy. We need someone who's going to fight for working families. And we got to hear specific policy proposals about how she's going to bring down the high cost of housing that hits so many North Carolinians so incredibly hard. I especially was glad to hear her talk about, the work I've done on the Congressional Dads Caucus to help families. She mentioned she wants to do a lot more for the child tax credit, $6,000 per family. That's a big deal for working families. So, we got to hear what is very refreshing, a speech just focused on policy. She could have had a giant rally with a ton of people, but she wanted to talk about the issues that matter for folks here, and that's housing and childcare and the issues that matters to families.
Well, she called you out at the beginning of her speech, Congressman, and I wonder how important your House of Representatives, not to mention the Senate next door, is going to be when it comes to this plan. How much of this plan rides on a Democratic sweep in November?
Well, I'm certainly hopeful we're going to have that, but I think after my hope is when we get Donald Trump out of the equation, we're going to be able to finally sit down and work together in a bipartisan way on so many issues that have just been put on the back burner. This Congress, we're on track to be one of the least productive Congresses in our nation's history. We need to get things done for the American people. That means immigration reform, which she said she's willing to sign, the most conservative immigration bill that Democrats have ever put forward and been willing to sign on to. That's a big deal for our country. So I'm hopeful that we can finally signal with Kamala Harris that we want to work towards the center and avoid, the extremism that far too often dominates the political discourse.
Our viewers on Bloomberg TV and on YouTube, Congressman, were just looking at video of you on the tarmac greeting Kamala Harris. You guys had some words when she arrived in North Carolina. What did she tell you?
Well, I just had her husband, Doug Emhoff, come to my house for a fundraiser a few weeks ago. And I was also talking about the Zoom we did with Mark Cuban and Chuck Schumer, Crypto for Harris, telling her about the great groups that we had, the great speakers and the good momentum we had on that issue. So, she knew about the Zoom. She knew about it and had great stuff to say about the work we're doing to help support her.
Yeah, the Crypto for Harris call, this is just about a week ago, 6 days ago, had quite the turnout, Congressman. Not just Chuck Schumer, Mark Cuban, Anthony Scaramucci was there. I want you to listen to what Donald Trump said about crypto in a news conference recently when he was asked about this. He's pledging to be the most friendly, pro-crypto president in American history. And here's how he says he'll get to it.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. I will appoint a new SEC chairman who believes America should build the future, not block the future. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council.
That was at the big Bitcoin conference in Nashville. Congressman, I think you were there speaking to some of the folks who were in the room. The crypto bros seem to be embracing Donald Trump on this, and they're taking him at his word, whether or not he's actually capable of firing Gary Gensler. What will Kamala Harris do for the crypto business and for investors?
Well, it's one of the issues where I've been pushing for a thoughtful reset on the issue. She's running for president in her own right. She's going to have her own policy agenda and ideas. Today, she put forth a ton of very specific proposals on housing and the economy. So we're making the case for why a reset is important. But, we had this Zoom with Chuck Schumer and Mark Cuban, very recently. And Chuck Schumer put out a very strong policy statement on the work he wants to get done to help protect consumers and keep innovation here in the United States when we're talking about crypto and the future of Web3. So I think that's a very important step, and we've had a ton of engagement with the new Harris campaign on this issue. So we're hoping that we're going to get a good set of policy statements from them and a reset on this issue. And you're right about Donald Trump. I spoke just a few hours before him in Nashville on this issue, making the Democratic case for crypto and why we need to keep working on this in a bipartisan way. Trump, of course, wants to politicize the issue, but I think it's important, as you saw those clips of him, to remind folks that he did absolutely nothing on the issue for 4 years when he was president, and just even after he left the White House, he said it was a scam. So I don't take much of what Donald Trump says to heart, and I don't think he's very serious on this stuff. But he knows that Gary Gensler has been a really bad SEC chair. I've certainly been one of the first to say that his policy of regulation by enforcement is not serving the Biden administration's interests. But he's not the only voice in the room. So we're optimistic we're going to get a fresh new approach from Vice President Harris in the coming days.
Well, it wasn't just the crypto for Harris call. I also saw you on the Deadheads for Harris call a couple of days later. It wasn't just you, Congressman. I saw Senator Pat Leahy. Of course, any Vermont native has to be a deadhead. But is this for real? What is the spirit of Jerry Garcia going to do to get Kamala Harris elected?
It was a wonderful call. We had great live music. And it's about the Grateful Dead's music is about bringing people together. That's the message we need a lot more of in the U.S. Congress, certainly in this presidential election. And it's one of unity and not division. So that for me was one of the big things that group was about. Why I love the Dead so much. Proud to be a Deadhead for Harris.